being here with us. This is Sidebar. Please think about going to sidebartv.com because that's where you can get on social media to watch during the show and after the show. And please also consider becoming a contributor. We really appreciate every single one of you that joins us every single week. We love the feedback, and it's really fun to read the comments afterwards. So what's going on? What happened this week? The government shutdown. Now in day 25, I don't think there's any deal in sight, or not that I've read. Dozens of people are donating money for the construction of President Trump's $300 million ballroom that people are complaining about. An NBA gambling scandal shows that the mafia is still alive. Meantime, early voting underway in our area, San Antonio area, for that $500 million Spurs arena. And last week, we had the big No Kings event, that movement. Did any of y'all go? What's next for that group? I really wonder who leads it all, and that's a question that I have. And then also this week, we had the New York City mayoral debate, I guess the last one. And I'm wondering if it's getting more real for the people of New York City on who's going to be their next mayor. And then President Trump and what's going on with Putin, and now what's possibly going to be going on as he may be planning to meet with China's president. Well, thank you so much. Did I say that already? For joining us every week. You can come here to listen to the former Bexar County District Attorney Nico LaHood, trial lawyer, managing partner of LaHood Norton Law Group, and George Araujo, scholar, former chemist, pharmaceuticals researcher, and director. And I know that these are so many topics that are going on, but I have to ask you, Nico, I mean, you're still in trial, right?
Yeah, we're still in trial. We're in week 3. We probably got 2 more weeks to go. A lot. It's not like on TV.
Very busy.
Well, it's not like on TV where, you watch a show and you have a 30-minute, trial, and then you have your arguments and all the dramatic part. I mean, we've had a lot of dramatic parts in the trial, and they become highlights, and that's fine. But that's not how it goes. I mean, there's a lot of tedious part of trial, a lot of arguments, legal arguments, stuff outside the jury's presence, procedural arguments, legal things of that nature. And then and there's witnesses that are just kind of those foundational witnesses that aren't really exciting, but you have to do it if you're putting on the case for the government or if you're tearing it down from the defense. And so
I'm really surprised that such a big case went this late in the year, because to me it always seems like by the time November and December comes, it's kind of like it slows down when it comes to the court.
Well, you're thinking of the juries in December,
right?
Yeah, so there's 2 weeks in December where we don't have any juries, but that's mid to late December. So
okay,
we're in October and we got to keep going.
I mean, this could go on for a long time though, right?
We probably have 2 more weeks for this one. Wow. And then there'll be another one. So.
People don't even realize the prep that goes into it before you even get into the courtroom.
Yeah, you win a trial during the butt time. So when you're sitting down, preparing, doing your investigation, preparing your arguments, anticipating opposing counsel's arguments, analyzing evidence, not having blinders on, because a lot of lawyers will look at the evidence the way they want the evidence to be, and they're not preparing, and I don't think they're serving their clients well if they do that, because you've got to prepare for the opposing counsel, the opposing side's argument. And then ultimately, it's not about what the judge thinks. I mean, ultimately, the judge makes rulings on the law and the rules of how we're going to proceed.
The presentation of it.
Well, he doesn't rule. Well, he rules on what you're going to, not on how you present it, but on what you present, yes, on the rules of evidence. But ultimately, it's about the jury. I mean, when someone says, oh, man, great cross-examination or great opening or great, I don't care. If I don't get that verdict, it doesn't matter how great anything was, because to me, it's about the verdict, and that's the result that the client needs, and it's my obligation to do my best to get it.
I know it's a joke, and I hate to say it, but sometimes people will walk in and say, is this the jury of my peers? Are these my peers? Is this who I am putting my life, into these people's hands that don't know much about what the law is or don't know the procedure? Do you feel like, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you feel like people are becoming more knowledgeable about the law?
I love our system. I love our system. In every ounce of my body, I love our system, because what I don't want is a jury of my social media, the jury of the media, the jury of the government. Even when I was the government, I mean, I felt like I handled that position responsibly, but the jury of a jurist, meaning the judge. I want a jury of my peers. And when people look at juries, I mean, they're wise. They ask good questions. They'll ask questions that maybe lawyers don't, because lawyers are being lawyers. and they're every day. And if you do a good job and a thorough job picking a jury, I want my peers. I want people that don't look like me. I want people that think differently. I want people that have everyday struggles and things just like I do and everybody else does. We have the best system in the world, and that's why I'm so passionate about defending it.
Good. I've been hearing your brother's commercials on the radio and everywhere else.
Oh,
and
good. I haven't, because I haven't been watching.
Yeah,
anything.
I know, but I was thinking to myself, it's good because every time I hear his voice and I hear your voice and I hear George's voice, I'm like, these guys are leaders.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, look, if I can find time to breathe, I'm going to get back on the campaign trail with him and help him. I believe he served our state well. He served 121 well. I'm very proud of him. I mean, when I hear the war stories of and the high school quote unquote attitudes up there in Austin, and Mark is doing his best to be the adult in the room and to side with truth and to advocate principles that will benefit both quote unquote sides, Democrats and Republicans. Mark's willing to talk to Democrats, independents, people that don't like him, disagree with him. He's always willing to learn and change, and that's the way my pop and mom taught us. You know, you're not God, and so you don't know everything, so learn. And I always go into a conversation thinking I can learn something, and same with Mark. And so, yeah, I think the 121 will do themselves a favor, and Texas will be served well if they reelect him.
So there were millions, apparently, that's what I read, that showed up for this No Kings event that happened all across the country last year. And the reason I even brought you guys up is I feel like there's no leader in the No Kings movement. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel for your brother, because just looking at some of the people that showed up wearing costumes and furries and what have you, when you say that your brother speaks to both sides, some people may not realize how hard it is talking to the other side.
Yeah, look, I didn't have a chance to study that too much, but the clips I saw, and I know it doesn't speak for everyone there, but I mean, there was a lot of interesting people there. I don't know how you're going to the Democrats are bleeding masculine, men and masculinity. They're not known as the party of masculinity anymore. It used to be the blue collar party and the party of the everyday worker and the trench worker and all that stuff. I mean, there were just very interesting people there. Nothing about that I saw exuded masculinity, and masculinity is not toxic if it's biblical. It's servant-led, it's sacrificial, it's strong, it's someone who seeks advice, it's someone who's strong and stands on principles and raises children well, and that wasn't it. I mean, furries and all the different BS we saw out there, I just don't know how they did themselves any favors. I mean, we can talk about who funded it, and Soros and Gates and Foundation, and against billionaires, but there's billionaires that funded it. And they don't want a king, or they don't want another king, and they don't even know what the hell they're talking about, because it sounds like what they're saying is, I don't want a tyrant, not a king, because they don't understand the difference. You can be a king and a tyrant, but you're not necessarily going to be a king, a tyrant, and a king. So I just think they're very confused, and it seems like they're searching. But look, I mean, there was people out there, and it's unfortunate, to be honest with you, because I don't even know what the hell. I don't even know if they knew what they're out there for.
Well, I know. That's what I wanted to know. What is it all about? What is the movement?
The alleged purpose is to dispute the authoritarianism from the Trump administration. But yet these are the very same people who just a few years ago were cheering their particular types of authoritarianism. So it's not that they're against authoritarianism, it's that they're against a particular type of authoritarian, or a perceived authoritarian. Again, these are the people who are cheering COVID lockdowns. They were cheering Biden administration going after political operatives. They were cheering lawfare against Trump. Excellent. Yeah, they were cheering mass censorship. Same individuals who are reputedly against kings. So it's not that they're against kings, it's that they just want a particular type of king, and it's one that advances their political agenda. And if you look at the signs, and I don't know if we were elaborate on the point that they're not exactly spring chickens. The vast majority of these individuals were, I mean, these are, I think, sort of leftover revolutionaries from Woodstock. These are the people who went underground and basically sowed strife in the American classroom. These are true revolutionaries, or true believers, or true indeed communists and socialists. And I'm not making this up. I mean, did you read the signs? And they're
we'll repeat some of them. Not everybody read them.
They're pushing for violence. They're wanting Trump incarcerated. They're wanting Trump hauled away. These are people who don't think too kindly about sitting across the table and actually having, as you say, a battle of ideas.
Right.
They want to take to the streets. this is not just a protest culture. This is a constant strife culture. This isn't. I'm trying to remember where I read it. I was leafing through and I can't quite recall. So I think I read a great piece this week. I think everybody should read it on it. I think it captures what's going on with No Kings. But Nico, it also says that this is a sad indictment on the country, because this really speaks to the state of division in the country. And since we're going to talk about Trump going to Asia, you've got American hostile parties or anti-American hostile parties who are looking at America and thinking, we don't ever need to fire a bullet, with this kind of dissent. So it's really an attack on the political legitimacy of the American government. Karen, I'm not sure where I read it. I've read somewhere that prior to Trump, there were maybe 1,500 demonstrations in the country. Now there's something like 5,000 to 9,000 demonstrations in the country each month. And so it's an industry. It's an industry of grievance that we have out there, and to the tunes of many, many millions of people. And if you read the signs that they have out there, they're rather hostile. And this isn't a peaceful movement. So I'm very, very concerned about the state of the country.
It's all a little confusing, though, especially about the violence and the guns, because weren't they anti-gun not too long ago, like a second ago? Okay, we're going to take a break. Please stick with us. Remember, go to sidebartv.com. That's where you can get on social media, and we'll be right back with more on Sidebar.
With reputations as respected high-level prosecutors in Bexar County, the attorneys of LaHood Norton Law Group bring invaluable practical knowledge from the other side of the aisle, using over 70 years of combined experience to strategically advocate clients' rights and pursue the best possible outcome.
I'm Nico LaHood with LaHood Norton Law Group. Have you been arrested or accused of a crime? The LaHood Norton Law Group has the knowledge to defend you regardless of how small or large your case. In Bexar County, anywhere in the state, or even nationwide, we have the knowledge to defend you in federal or state court, no matter how small or large your case. We are trial lawyers with proven success.
Using their 70 years of combined experience to strategically advocate for their clients' rights and pursue the best possible outcome. The LaHood Norton Law Group. For a free consultation, call today, 210-797-7700. 210-797-7700. LaHoodNorton.com.
This is Nico LaHood. If you or a loved one has been arrested or accused of a crime, we can help.
LaHoodNorton.com.
1200 WOAI, this is Sidebar. Sticking with this No Kings movement, because I at first thought that it was just, the name of the protest that was happening, but actually now it is kind of a movement. Is it directly opposite of the MAGA movement? Is it just now forming? When I heard the numbers...
It's more like a bowel movement. Look, this is... I mean, like, because have Alamo Talk making comments, and look, I like that he's here. I love his comments. I do. I don't love his comments, what he says, but I mean, I like that he says he knows he can say them here. No Kings was awesome. What was awesome about it? I mean, you're a badass. Okay, what does that mean? No, you're awesome. And never seen so many pissed off white people protesting in the streets with their wheelchairs and their canes. I mean, I don't understand. Where were the young people? Because look at the young data, and you have to understand, what is the movement trying to accomplish? That's what I want to ask. I really want to get away from... the problem is people can't get away from their feelings. And you have to get away from your feelings for a second, because your feelings will deceive you. I don't feel like doing a lot of things sometimes.
Right.
I don't feel like being nice. I don't feel like being this. I don't feel like being unselfish. I don't feel like doing a lot of things when you're a daddy and a husband and a public servant at different times. But forget your feelings. Let's look at ideas. Let's look at what they're trying to accomplish. And when somebody criticizes an idea, why are you criticizing it, and what do you want to replace it with? It's just that simple to me. I mean, it's easy. Maybe not simple, but it's easy to me. I mean, I don't understand. What was so awesome about this movement? What do you mean? So get a bunch of pissed off white folks, I guess. It's interesting that you're encouraging the white folks to be pissed off. I guess the browns and the black folks and the yellow folks and the Asians and all the everybody, those folks aren't pissed off, so they're supporting Trump. And what's the point being made? And then making comments. I mean, I know you're probably just trying to be a provocateur. It's like Saulo 1.0. But I mean, Jorge, you'll get tired. George, you'll get tired of living on your knees too. To Trump. I mean, what do you mean living on your knees? To what? I mean, I support ideas. I can speak for George. I mean, we support ideas. and ideas of freedom, actually allowing people like Alamo Talk to disagree and to talk. But those ideas have to turn into action. And what actions do we want? I don't know. I would love to have them take them to lunch and just talk to people. How is this country in such bad shape compared to it was with Biden? We were embarrassed on the world stage. We had nobody gave no one gave two craps about President Biden. His word meant nothing. When I mean nothing, I mean nothing. He was wandering off into woods during appearances. He was shaking invisible hands. He was speaking gibberish, and I care about him because he's an image bearer. He's an image bearer whether he believes it or not. And because I know God loves him, so I would care about him, and he was my president too. And so I care about that because I care about the institution, the presidency. I care about that. Forget about the person. Whether you like it or not, all the Trump haters, all the Trump lovers, all the Trump whatever, euphoric people and all the Trump deranged people, Trump's going to be in office for 3 more years, and that's it. I don't care what anybody says. He loves trolling people, and the people that lose their crap over it are just, man, they're just easy pickings. I have, oceanfront property in Arizona for you. He knows how to pull your chain. He's doing that. I mean, he's not going to be president in 3 more years. So just get over it. Now let's talk past Trump, past Biden, hopefully avoiding President AOC or Gavin Newsom, and let's talk about ideas that we can talk about that betters all Americans, including, quote-unquote, both sides. Because you know who doesn't give a crap and loves our division? Is China, is all these other countries, Iran and all these other countries that hate us. They will play nice for a little while, and we're fighting over every 4 years, and they have true tyrants for 30 years. So they're playing the long game. They say, oh yeah, we'll hold back, we'll withstand Trump. And so Trump's trying to institute stuff that's going to be long outliving him. He's going to be 80 this year, next year. I mean, God willing, the Lord gives him another 10 years or 15 years, but whatever it is, he's only going to be in office 3 more years. So the United States of America has to be self-sufficient and has to be set on principles regardless of who the president is. And if every 4 years or 8 years or whatever, we're trying to reinvent the United States, we're screwed. It's not if, it's when. And so that's where I'm at. I want to bring people around ideas that our founding fathers believed on. That is the reason why we can celebrate the same Constitution for 250 years. Study other countries to see how many constitutions they've had and how many civil wars they've had. And we've had one, and that's it. God willing, never again. And this is heading towards another one.
No, truly, and it's not peaceful. It's not, it's not productive. I mean, we had violent exchanges here in Dallas. You can read all about that. But the one that struck me was in Chicago because it was a massive showing. You had a woman standing out there as somebody drove by because there were conservatives who came to obviously voice their own views. And as they're walking around with a Charlie Kirk deal, you have a woman as the car drives by. It's on video. You can look this up. She's sitting there making a gun gesture and pulling the trigger as that happens. You have there's one this one I thought was particularly interesting. You had a man on video yelling into a bullhorn that ICE agents should be killed. Quote, you got to grab a gun. We got to turn around the guns on the fascist system. These ICE agents got to get shot and wiped out. He said the same machinery that's on the full display right there has to get wiped out. He's got pictures of ICE agents. This isn't a one-off. This is a violent movement that seeks to sow discord inside the country. This is violent at its core, and it's hateful. You have Trump piñatas, and everybody's stepping up to take their turns at hitting Trump or an effigy of Trump. I mean, what's productive about that? What's so awesome about that? What's constructive about that? How does that create a better world, Alamo Talk and others who think the same way, for my kids? Why would you want your kids to grow up in a society like that? That's how you're going to solve problems? You're going to make little effigies of your enemies and have your kids line up with baseball bats? That's going to drive the country forward? And so I'm very concerned that this isn't, look, we should have protests in the country. That's wonderful. Yeah. That's part of a free society.
That's right.
But this is machinery. This is an industry of dissent. This is an industry of grievance. This looks for reasons for dissent and hate against your enemy. Reasons for division, Nico, rather than, hey, division's a part of life. Let's find reasons to come together around a common ground, a common ethos. I mean, this erodes that. This is a shift away from the American experiment, and I don't see how that helps us.
Well, we talked about this before, though. I mean, there was 2 ways to run a country, either through strength and power and fear, or conversation and persuasion. And our founding fathers chose the second. Now, you have to be able to be strong to keep things settled and to protect your citizens and things like that. But it was persuasion. persuade me. Let's get into the arena of ideas and let's talk. And then if your ideas are better and mine suck so bad, give me the opportunity and the freedom to voice my crappy idea, and then your great idea will fall on the ears of reasonable, virtuous, educated people, and they'll put me on the shelf where I belong. That's it, because they're going to ignore my idea. That's how this country was set up. And the reason why you get into the square, so to speak, and punch your opponent instead of persuade your opponent is because you don't have good ideas. In a court of law, where I've been in for 3 weeks and I'm going to be in for the rest of the year in another trial, we're not in there doing fisticuffs. I mean, if somebody wanted to, I'm prepared to, but I'm just saying that's not the way the system is set up. You have 12 people that live in the community of an accused. You have a government, you have a referee wearing a robe called a judge, a jurist, and you have these rules of engagement called the procedural rules and the rules of evidence. And then you have advocacy, and you persuade. You don't shut up your opponent. You don't throw things at them. You don't take them off the witness stand. You don't punch them in the face or hurt them. You persuade them and you press them and you cross-examine them and you present evidence and you test that evidence in the laboratory of the justice system. And then you have 12 people make a decision on your life. That's the way our system is set up. That's the way our governmental system is set up. And when you get into a system, that's what I say, play this out. Alamo Talk, all these people that think they're so awesome, you're not even repudiating the violence. I saw a video where they pulled this older gentleman out of some open-ended vehicle and just beat the hell out of him. An old dude. Sure. He couldn't even defend himself. Like 4, 5, 6 people would just jump in this guy. That's embarrassing. But put that in a court of law when the government comes after you, and then there's the fisticuffs in the court of law and there's no argument. And then see how that works out. Then you better it's king of the mountain, and it becomes a jungle. And if you're not prepared to be the king of the mountain, and guess what? Every king gets old, and that king is going to be taken out, just like the lion in their packs. So all I'm saying is that's not a good system. We should persuade. We should be passionate. We should protest legally and constitutionally. And then we should vote and make sure our voting system is done right, so either side can be heard. If my ideas suck, then I shouldn't win. And that you should win fair and square, and you get the votes. And that's why we should both worry about our voting system. So this is really, I don't know anything good about what happened, other than the fact that they were mostly peaceful, and I applaud that. And they should be able to voice crappy ideas, and that's fine. I think I support that.
It's interesting. I would say they're mostly peaceful relative to the so-called summer of love, but we're setting the bar kind of low. But across the nation, the messages are overwhelmingly violent. They're not conciliatory. It's not just about stating a grievance. It's fomenting hate and fomenting intense division against your enemy. I would like to recommend, before we punt, Karen, a piece by Sam Olson on thespectator.com called "No Kings is the Symbol of a Decaying Republic." And he makes the point really quickly that the marches, quote, which Trump allies called the Hate America ally, were notable for their scale, but more importantly, they are a symbol of something deeper, the erosion of political legitimacy in the world's preeminent democracy. For China and Russia, the spectacle of Americans turning on their own institutions confirms a long-held belief, namely that the United States is entering a phase of irreversible decline and may soon hesitate abroad. The data bear them out. In April of 24, 19% of Americans agreed that violence might be necessary to get the country back on track. By October of 25, that figure has risen to 30%. Protest activity has surged too. And then he goes on and gives particular stats on how this is really kind of becoming a way of life rather than kind of an episodic thing that America engages in to bring legitimate grievances to the forefront of the American conscience. That's what I'm worried about. If you see America as a big family, can we even solve problems anymore? We won't go to each other's Thanksgiving dinners or Christmas dinners anymore because of political differences. This is deeper, and this is driven by the left. I ask Alamo Talk and anybody else who shares this persuasion, Nico, where's any kind of comparable movement coming from the so-called conservative side? Where?
Well, I think you saw a sample of that when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's Charlie Kirk.
But not crying for violence against one's enemies or setting up effigies and beating them up. So there's a movement.
Wait. What point do you think I'm trying to make?
No, what I'm clarifying that when I say when I ask the question rhetorically.
I know, but what point do you think I was trying to make? Because you're saying I didn't say that. I'm saying that with Charlie Kirk, there was no violence. There was no burning down of buildings. Here's a very prominent, if not the most significant prominent figure, especially for young conservatives, on the Republican side
or the Libertarian side.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying where was all that? Where was all this violence? Look at the George Floyd, and you're talking about, George, the summer of love, quote unquote. What happened? People were actually murdered because they were protesting a murder, which is hypocrisy. That doesn't make any sense, and that's not what Martin Luther King advocated for. And so you had this idea, and just the violence of Charlie Kirk's murder and the public and how it was and everything and how it affected people. Nothing. You had prayer vigils. You had a revival.
Yeah.
If that doesn't show you everything, then you're not paying attention to anything. That shows everything to me. When you're talking about ideas, you have an ideology now. As a quote unquote Christian conservative, should you prepare to defend yourself? Yeah, I'm not a piñata. I don't know where this pacifism BS came across on the Christian front, at least, maybe not with the conservative front. But you should be prepared for violence, but not use it. That's not my MO. You have a right, as we're doing a self-defense case right now, you have a right not to be a victim in Texas. And we can talk about self-defense, use of force, use of deadly force, Texas Penal Code 931, 932, 933. I can go with deep hours on that stuff. But I'm saying that is not, we come to the table with clean hands, as we say in contract law. And I come to the table with a heart to want to persuade you, thinking that my ideas, whether you believe it or not, are going to benefit you and your family. Period, end of story. But this experiment that our founding fathers started 250 years ago, if you think that we can stay on the path we're going, and that's from the owner's manual called that Constitution and the Bill of Rights, it's not in there. You can't show it to me. You're not going to do it. And the further we get away from the owner's manual, the more that we're going to lose what the gift that we've been given. Because I do believe that this country is a gift, and it's all imperfections. It's a gift still to this, because the ideas are, in my opinion, rooted in biblical understanding.
Before we go on to another topic, when we come back from the break, I just have one more question about No Kings, because I guess I just don't get what it
you're
is.
A queen, that's what we want to talk about.
Oh, yeah, No Kings. Stop it. Okay, we are taking a break. Quit picking on me. And we will be right back with more on Sidebar.
San Antonio's news, weather, traffic, plus breaking news 24/7. This is News Radio 1200 WOAI from the GiveMeTheVin.com Sell Us Your Cars studio.
I'm Eric Lycum at News Radio 1200 WOAI. A mystery man chips in big bucks to pay service members during the government shutdown. Details coming up. First, traffic and weather together.
The WOAI Traffic Center.
Good morning, drivers. We have some ongoing road construction to look out for this morning. That's going to be closing down northbound 35 on the northeast side between Olympia Parkway and Schertz. Also, if you're on the west side, we have an accident that's going to be partially blocking the off-ramp from northbound Loop 410 to Highway 151. I'm Carson Parnell, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
Flood watch in effect until 1. Low 80s this afternoon. Mostly cloudy and 69 at the WOAI 24-hour weather center. Our top story. The Pentagon has accepted an anonymous $130 million gift to help pay service members as the government shutdown continues. President Trump confirmed the donation from a U.S. citizen while on his way to Asia and offered praise for the man.
He's a great gentleman. He's a great patriot. He's obviously a very substantial man.
Critics say it's unethical and called for transparency. Tonight's the night Paul McCartney's Got Back tour hits San Antonio's Alamo Dome. The show begins at 8 p.m., although you might not want to drive your car. With Day of the Dead celebrations also going on, officials urge concert goers to arrive early and take advantage of VIA's Park and Ride service. News on demand at WOAI.com. Our next update, top of the hour. Breaking information as it happens. I'm Eric Lycum on San Antonio's news, weather, and traffic station, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
1200 WOAI, this is Sidebar. Go to sidebartv.com. Join us on social media because we continue after the show right at 10 a.m. I know it feels like such a dumb question, but what I don't understand, if we can just get this out in the open about No Kings, is it seems that every single complaint they have about Trump, because basically it's TDS times a zillion, but every single thing they hate about him or they say they hate about him is not the truth, or it's just some made up thing. So with all of these made up things and these people like just double downing on all of these ideas on why we shouldn't have a king, how did they not know that some of these things are just made up?
Do you think they believe this, or do you think they're?
I think some do. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you talk
Why?
to people, they
It's
really do.
almost religious.
Yeah, I mean,
comes from them.
Yeah, I've seen people advocate in trial, like the lawyers on the other side in this trial. I mean, as ridiculous as the theory is that you can use deadly force against law enforcement, if you believe that they're overstepping their authority,
blows my mind.
That's insane to me. And I know, and I'm like, I know that one of them I'm really disappointed with, the other one I expected from. And I just like, man, you really believe this? So I do. I think people can just really be bought in on something or be persuaded. I think it's a delusion in a sense. And look, you can be delusional on the right too. I mean, there's some people that are delusional when it comes to Trump or conservatism or whatever it is. And they just don't have open minds about things and reason people. We reason with people, as Isaiah 1 says, let's sit down and reason together, right? And so, yeah, I do believe. I think people believe it. Yeah, unfortunately.
And Karen was asking, I mean, what can you reason with them? Can you actually have a conversation about these things? And my worry always is that it's religious in nature, and when they position their enemy, they don't position their enemy just as being wrong. You know, maybe their enemy's nuts, they're crazy, they're wrong, but it's beyond that. When you vilify your enemy and your enemy's now evil, please tell me, how are you going to reason with an evil person? You know, you don't. What do you do with evil people? Well, I mean, you at very least you imprison them. At the most, you kill them. And so that's what worries me. I worry about the soulish health of the country, and this is now an industry. It's again, 1,500 demonstrations per month. Just pre-Trump, we're up to 5,000 to 9,000 per month in the age of Trump. I mean, this is an industry.
Well, there's one going on right now in Travis Park. I mean, Saulo just sent you the text right now. Hundreds of people in Travis Park.
What's going on in Travis Park?
No Kings rally.
Another protest.
Yeah, here in San Antonio.
Janet just wrote in and she says, you know, she really does also believe that they believe the leftist media propaganda. And even her sister-in-law, brother-in-law protested. And she's a retired public school teacher and a principal, which is really concerning. And the one woman, I think I read that, you know, did the hand motion like a gun. That was a public school teacher also.
That's right.
See, when you deal with murder and death the way I do on a daily basis, I mean, that's not something to play with.
No.
It's not a joke. I mean, I get it. Maybe you're insensitized to it. All right. I mean, you know, we always criticize the young people because they used to, these violent video games they play. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe that lady's in the same, but it's not a game. I mean, it's all fun and games until it applies to you. I mean, you know, be careful the world you help create, right, Karen? Because someday you may have to live in it. This is the world you want. So just because it's someone you didn't care for, or that you hated, quote unquote, or didn't like, that's okay. What about if it's someone you did like, but you set the rules? If that's the rules of engagement, that's the rules of engagement. So, I mean, it just, and again, there's that whole king of the mountain, you know, idea. It's like, I'm the king, so I can make up the rules, and my rules are going to be hypocritical. Look, this, to me, we've talked about this on the show a number of times, George, over the years. Yuri Bezmenov, and you can look up his interview.
I love this.
I mean, it's true, though. The four stages to ideological subversion. They didn't have to, they would take over countries. You'd have to fire one bullet. You know, you've demoralized a country. Back in 84, ironically, the interview was from 1984.
Crazy.
Back in 84, he thought that America was sufficiently demoralized in 84. We were 40 years later. In 84, he thought that. Interesting. And then there's destabilization. You destabilize a country. It's happening now. It can happen through economics. It can happen through politics. It can happen in different ways. He gave it a number on how long that usually takes. And then you create a crisis. And back then, it took a certain amount of time to create a crisis. Now it takes 4 minutes because of social media and all the other stuff. And then it becomes this normalization. That's just the way it is now. This is here's the word, the new normal. It almost happened with COVID. Thank God, because of social media and because people that had platforms that used them properly, like Joe Rogan, believe it or not, and other people, and even a Bill Maher that was pushing back because he's not crazy. I mean, he's a classical liberal and question and believes in free speech, and they use their platforms appropriately, and that's why the censorship bothered me so much. So these people, to George's point earlier, they are no kings but are for censorship. But then you're a king. You just want your king in.
Right.
Or you want your tyrant in. It's not that you care about a king, because a king could be righteous. There could be a righteous king.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I really wish that the debate of ideas, the idea of a university would come back. The unity and diversity. That's what university means, ironically. Unity and diversity. We unify against diverse ideas. We come into an arena to share them into the public square, and then let the good ideas win and the bad ideas fall to the wayside. That's not the way we have it anymore.
The reality is it's not contained. It's not just contained to our borders. The more unstable we look or are internally, this is going to get, it's going to be exploited outside of here. So Trump's working hard, I think, to try to shore up those things.
But do you think that Trump talking to Putin is the same way that us trying to talk to, somebody that's in No Kings, like they won't listen, they don't believe anything that you're saying is right, and so they're not going to go along with any plan, even though it's the smart way to go? Is that him talking to Putin? I mean,
look, Putin is a KGB dude, man. I mean, look, the reality is, whether you like it or not, he's played Trump a little bit. But Trump got played, and he took the chance of being played for the right reasons. So, I mean, look, you walk in, you think you're dealing with an honest actor. He realizes he's not. And he's not a good faith negotiator. And part of negotiation is you have to walk away from the deal. You have to have superior knowledge. You have to have more options, right? You have to have more patience. Those are the three elements to getting a good deal done. And so Trump has more options and more patience because he's in the driver's seat. And so, and he's got more knowledge. He's playing this game right. Whether you like him or not, this guy's playing. I mean, they talked about 4D chess or 3D chess or whatever you want to say. I mean, when you think about things that I even criticized months ago, and maybe George and I were kind of like, what the hell is he doing? You're seeing it play out now. I mean, he really is an interesting dude. I mean, for all the criticism I've had over him over the years and the compliments, both, I mean, I'm just sitting back and I've just learned to say, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. And before I criticize, unless it's something overt and something that I can really have an opinion on objectively at the moment, I just kind of pause when it comes to his strategy. And I think he's pulling back. He's going to meet with Xi. He's good at isolating people. He's truly an isolationist. He knows how to corner his opponents and knows how to and offer the olive
We'll talk
branch.
about that, though. Why would he be wanting to meet with Xi? Why is that important?
Well, he's cut off their oil supply. I mean, India and China, I mean, he's trying to cut off the only reason why Russia's still in this deal is because of their oil, in my opinion. I mean, when you look at Ukraine and he's taking out some of their oil, their tankers or whatever it is, I'm using the wrong terminology. And we've already realized, I mean, look, Russia has, what I'm worried about is that Russia is going to become desperate. This is my own opinion. Because when people think you're a badass and then they realize you're not, you may go for the gun. I mean, if you're talking about fighting, I mean, I'm sorry to use my analogy in fight terms, and you're a street fighter or you're an MMA fighter or you're combat sports, and you're training, and you're known to be a badass, and maybe you're a badass in the old days, and then you get into a scrap and with someone that you should have kicked their ass, and you haven't lost, but you haven't beat them, and this fight's gone way too long. You're already in the 11th round. It should have been over in the 3rd. And then they're like, and then what he's going to do, maybe he might kick in the balls, do something else, do something and try to go break the rules to win because now they're desperate and they're embarrassed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't, Russia was never going to be looked the same again, at least not for a while. And so I don't know where they go from here because they couldn't even take care of Ukraine, but they have nukes. So, you got to be careful with these guys.
It became painfully obvious that the last summit wasn't very successful and that whatever Putin said he was going to do to kind of reevaluate his approach to Ukraine, that did obviously not happen. And so, at some point, Trump gets tired of, he gives you a lot of rope to hang yourself, and at some point he gets tired of being mocked. But these sanctions that he just unleashed against Russia, they promise to be rather debilitating. These sanctions do matter. They go after two major players inside of Russia, two major oil and energy producers inside of Russia. These two companies don't just drive oil distribution inside of Russia, but it has international implications. So Trump has basically frozen the ability for them to conduct foreign transactions.
It's a big deal.
And so going after the lifeblood of this. Now, I'm trying to remember the exact name, but I think it's the Southeast Asian Nations Summit. Trump is going to Asia. He's flying over there. And it's South Korea, Nico, and India's involved, and China's involved, and he will have a meeting with you. But this is ultimately, notice he did this to Russia before he goes over there.
Right.
Because this is a significant blow to India as well, because India is a thriving and growing new economy, And a lot of that lifeblood is Russian oil, which they're getting at a significant discount. But alas, no more. So this now, I think Narendra Modi, head of India, is now sitting back and saying, now maybe I have an excuse to go back to my fellow citizens and saying maybe we really should reevaluate our relationship with Donald Trump. I mean, he jacked up tariffs on a 50% basis. He jacked up tariffs on China by that much. So China's oil supplies as well. So I love it. It's kind of an indirect play, and he wants to go into these discussions strong. He doesn't want to be some sheepish dude. That's not Trump's style. I think going after Russia and sending the message that he recognizes where a significant portion of their economic leverage comes from, and then hitting that really hard. I think this is a significant deal. Why the intensity with China though? Because Nico, the rare earth stuff is a big deal. China controls 60 to 70% of rare earth purification. So the rare earths, not because they're geologically rare. There's a lot of them. The problem is that they need the process of pulling them out of the earth and purifying them is insanely expensive, and it's environmentally hazardous. But nevertheless necessary. It's used in smartphones and computer technology and military weapons grade stuff. So
is it something
China
that we can get from Ukraine?
Well, we've just brokered, this is Trump, he just brokered a major deal with Ukraine, but also Australia, to send the message that we don't need China and we're going to go around China. So knock off the leverage, the games. So all of this before the meeting with China. Do you think this would have happened with Biden and with Kamala Harris?
Remember, he already took care of the Panama Canal issue. I mean, this is
too much. My brain can't handle it. Okay, we're going to take a tiny little break right now. Stick with us and get online because we will continue after the show is done on WOAI. This is Sidebar. We'll be right back.
With reputations as respected high-level prosecutors in Bexar County, the attorneys of LaHood Norton Law Group bring invaluable practical knowledge from the other side of the aisle, using over 70 years of combined experience to strategically advocate clients' rights and pursue the best possible outcome.
I'm Nico LaHood with LaHood Norton Law Group. Have you been arrested or accused of a crime? The LaHood Norton Law Group has the knowledge to defend you regardless of how small or large your case. In Bexar County, anywhere in the state, or even nationwide, we have the knowledge to defend you in federal or state court, no matter how small or large your case. We are trial lawyers with proven success.
Using their 70 years of combined experience to strategically advocate for their clients' rights and pursue the best possible outcome. The LaHood Norton Law Group. For a free consultation, call today, 210-797-7700. 210-797-7700. LaHoodNorton.com.
This is Nico LaHood. If you or a loved one has been arrested or accused of a crime, we can help.
LaHoodNorton.com.
1200 WOAI. This is Sidebar. Remember, go to sidebartv.com because in about 12 minutes, we will go off the air on WOAI and continue to stream live. Okay, so there is so much going on. And yes, I do kind of get chills when I think about the strategy, the strategic thinking that Trump obviously has been thinking about his entire life, because how can you have these plans put in place to move one chess piece and then another one steps in, even with India? I mean, where do we stand with India, and how does it play along with China and India and their oil?
Well, remember, they're part of BRICS, right? The BRICS nations.
Yeah.
What are Brazil and
Russia.
Russia, thank you.
India.
China. India, China, and South Africa. So this is a coalition of nations to basically push back on Western dominance, aka the United States. Trump's watching that very carefully, and he is leveraging the American market, as he should, to bring him back into ship shape. Now, these are not... look, you have a right to pursue whatever supply chain you want. I mean, you have a right to do that. The problem is that with these nations comes a lot of genuine authoritarianism. You know, like, why South Korea? Why is it going to meet with South Korea? South Korea has just had a recent election, and they have shifted left. And now you have President Lee, I think his name is, now he's using lawfare to go after his political opponents. And so and Trump's saying, hey, man, we had a treaty. It was forged in the middle of war, and now it's grown up and matured, and we are on the same page. But this is a threat to that same page status of our relationship, a treaty since 1953. So Trump's over there saying, I know a thing or two about lawfare. This isn't going to work out the way you think it's going to work out. This is not the way South Korea wants to go. So he's over there doing that. So, I mean, can anyone, literally, I don't care if you're a Democrat, maybe you're a lifelong Democrat. Maybe you'll always vote Democrat. Please tell me what's wrong with this. Tell me what's wrong with these initiatives. What's wrong with these objectives? Truly. Why not shore up America's economic profile?
I mean, but you can't.
Why not do that?
But Trump is truly, from all the evidence I've seen, that Trump is truly thinking about future generations.
He is. Yeah.
He's thinking about the idea of the United States of America, you know, the entity, so to speak. If he's running as a business, then a business that he wants to outlast him and part of his legacy. To me, and this is where I've been so frustrated with the church, why the church, I think some of this is because the church abandoned its responsibility to have moral discussions that happen to be political. See, notice I didn't say political. Moral discussions that happen to be political, because everything's political. Because if you don't remember, just do a little Google. In 2017, don't forget that the mayor of Houston started demanding sermons from Christian churches in Houston, Texas. Go piss on yourself, mayor. No, you're not getting my sermon. How about that? Yeah, I mean, so I don't understand why people. I
forgot about that.
Yeah, don't forget, it wasn't that long ago, and don't think it can't come back. I mean, so this is the mindset we got to think about, and think about where do we want to be down the road. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Happiness doesn't mean your feelings. Happiness meant property ownership. Free market, meaning anybody can start a business if you have a good idea and you have honest business. I mean, we have borders. We can educate ourselves. We can worship. We can do all the things that go into the ideas of our Constitution of freedom and liberty. I mean, think about that: life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So those are ideas. Those are concepts. And when you start messing with the definitions and making them your definitions, like, oh, love is love, or this is this, or acceptance, or this, you know, then you're gonna, if you change the definitions, then you have a different meaning. So yeah, so I think Trump is doing, I like what he's doing. I'm happy to have conversations with people that can bring objective evidence, not your feelings, and not skewed evidence. I mean, objective evidence. If you can never, like Mark Antoine or Alamo, you can never disagree with quote unquote your side, then you're just in a tribe. You're not really advocating principles, because your principles should follow whoever. It doesn't matter who's advocating your principles.
It is cultic in nature. You have a leader, and everything the leader says, or everything the oligarchy, a group of leaders said, is completely correct. You don't challenge that thinking. You don't use rational discernment. It's religious in nature, and how's that not dangerous, really? And we're encouraging the freedom to dissent. Let's argue about it. Do I have to feel scared that you're going to send in jackbooted thugs to arrest me and send me off? That's really sort of what the fork in the road is for us right now. What sort of society do we want? And conservatism wants more debate. I mean, intense, robust debate. We want that. And it may get intense. It may not. We may hurt people's feelings. That may happen.
Sure.
But I'll take that over being incarcerated any day if you don't like me, or worse, or going after my family. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy society right there. That's third world stuff.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but was it Cuomo during the New York City mayoral debate that told Mamdani, Trump is just waiting for you to win so that he can just take over all of New York City, because it is obvious that you don't know what you're doing and you're playing into Trump's hands. You think that you have all of these great new ideas and that everybody's following you, but the bottom line is you're just handing the city over to the president.
Who said that?
Cuomo.
Yeah, that's Cuomo's big threat is that, you know, if you win, then you're going to leave Trump with no excuse. He's going to have to come in, and because you're basically saying you're that crazy.
Yeah.
You're that kind of guy. And there's some element of truth is Mamdani is that crazy. But the idea that, you know, that the real fear is Trump, I mean, that's laughable. You know, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw highlights because I didn't have time to watch this whole damn debate. I don't live in New York. And I only care about New York because it's a city in the United States. I mean, New York, if you look at, Cuomo seemed to do much better this time. But I think it's too little too late. I mean, that election's in a couple of weeks or whatever it is. Mamdani's up by 20 points or something, unless those polls are wrong. I hope they're wrong. And then that other fool, the third guy, I mean, what's his name?
Curtis Lewa.
Red beret dude. I mean, whatever. I mean, I mean, what is he in for? Someone said, "Oh, I know why he's in. For what? You have whatever percent you have. You should do what Eric Adams did and get behind Cuomo. Sometimes the choice is between bad and better."
If it's a serious question, I'll volunteer and tell you what I think. I think it's because largely, I mean, he can't win. He's got maybe 15, 16%. Maybe to prop up his radio talk show.
Well, people have
Okay,
said, ask him.
That's selfish.
Right.
Then he's not what he
Right.
says he
I
is.
can't see. I mean, you asked an important question.
Oh, no,
I don't
that's
have an
legit.
answer to that
If
question.
that's true, then that's
Right.
it. Because those 15, 16%, think about it. If
Makes a
Mamdani
difference.
is up by 20 and he has 15, 16% and he could shift that over to Cuomo,
He can. There are polls that actually say there's a positive poll and there's a neutral poll, and then there's the one that you said, which is really the Real Clear Politics average, which has, in a three-way race, it has Mamdani up by 18 points right now. If Silwa drops out, then Cuomo literally gets within 2 points, which is well within the margin of error.
Yep.
And in some polls, Mamdani and Cuomo, Cuomo's up by 4 or 5 points.
yeah, but
you heard me say that.
that dude, Red Beret dude, then screw him. I'm
Somebody
serious.
asked him, why are you still in the race? And he said, because I do not want them to win. I don't want them to destroy the city, and I'm not backing down.
Who's them?
Mamdani and Cuomo.
But see,
Cuomo.
But it's not. Look,
He can't win. Period. End of story.
Right.
Hey, dumbass, wake
Right.
up. You can't win. So if you
Right.
care about New York, get out.
Yeah,
So just
exactly.
then let Cuomo win and then run against Cuomo. Or do some, or work
Yeah.
with Cuomo. Since you endorsed him, you don't think he's going to have an open door for you? And if he doesn't, then that's going to look bad on him, and then run against him and build up your coalition. 15% doesn't win anywhere. You don't pass a test with 15%. 15% doesn't do crap for you, except support somebody else.
Seriously,
especially in
what's going to
politics.
happen to New York City?
if his young punk ass know nothing voters think things aren't unaffordable now, they haven't seen anything yet. The dude, I mean, he wants to freeze the rent of the city's 1 million rent stabilized apartments. Truly, I mean, what do you think the owners are going to do? If you're an owner, are you going to invest in maintenance? No. Are you going to buy more apartments?
Nope.
No. I mean, supply and demand doesn't stop working because you feel like it should. It's going to continue.
Are people
So
going to hire people for $1 zillion an hour? No.
But he's never owned anything. He's never done anything. He comes from money. This dude comes from money. He's a good talker. He's got it, quote unquote, no doubt about it. He's never been in a tough interview. I was so disappointed to hear that I didn't watch it. He was on Andrew Schultz, because I like Andrew Schultz. I was very disappointed to hear that. And then Schultz ask tough questions, man. Sure. I mean, don't just sit there and just let him talk and spew his BS. Sorry, I almost said it, Kurt. But his stuff. I mean, just ask him tough questions. You can still be welcome. You're a comedian. Make fun, joke, and tease around a little bit. But ask him tough questions. Don't endorse stupidity. I mean, and I like Andrew Schultz. I think he's inquisitive and he's got good questions. And I think he's an important voice, believe it or not. But look, man, New York's going to get. We went through this in the 70s, 80s, and 90s in New York, so it's not like new. The difference is, here's the only difference with Mamdani that's different. This Islamic movement is not a policy dispute. And I'm telling you, people better wake up and do some studying. You better study. And I don't care if someone's going to call you an Islamophobe, because nobody gets called a Christian phobe or a Jesus phobe. But just objectively study the Hadith, the Quran, the Sirah. Study the ideology, study the imperialistic mindset, study a caliphate versus a caliph and what's going on in Sharia. Just study it. That's all. Look up people, do your own research. We can come back and have a conversation. David Wood is excellent, by the way, and Bill Warner. Thank you, Daddy. I was thinking of Bill Maher. Sorry, Bill Warner. I mean, so but
Bill Maher's not too bad either.
Bill Maher's not bad either. That dude, man.
I never
he
thought
caught
I'd
my
hear you say
attention.
that.
He's not
No,
too
but he's
bad.
not. I mean, he
didn't pull any punches on this.
Yeah, man. Bill Maher's been a pretty staunch advocate, because he understands, because he's done some research. So
And
that's
he says
all.
I can have conversations with Christians all day. I mean, I think they're loony or whatever, but at
Yeah.
least I can,
Yeah.
I can have a conversation with them. Try that with Islam. But this is relevant because it just came up. J.D. Vance actually spoke up about it, because you had Mamdani posing with that imam. What's his name? Oh, Siraj Warhaj. He is a former unindicted co-conspirator.
Terrorist,
He's a co-conspirator.
Yeah.
1993 World Trade Center bombing. And so he's at a local mosque posing it, and he's talking it up, how what a privilege it is. I mean, this guy has been out there. There's video after video advancing Islamic terrorism. Because there's a holy and
Mamdani
wonderful cause behind it.
supports the prayer chants 5 times a day in a public square. Which, go to Dearborn, Michigan, it's happening there. But Dearborn, Michigan is not part of the United States, by the way. So unless it's hostile takeover by the government and take it back, It's been run over.
Sort of like an Indian reservation? Where,
just look
it.
Check it out. Don't listen to me. Go check it out yourself. And it's no different than church bells. You're talking about noises like ding, ding, ding versus a prayer. No one's repeating Matthew 6, the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father in public, even though you should be able to, because there's an argument, and it's an objective argument, and you're not going to win this argument if you're open-minded, that our roots are Judeo-Christian. They're not Hindu. They're not Buddhist. They're not Islamic. They're not atheist. They're Judeo-Christian. Now, you don't have to like it. You don't have to be forced to be a Christian to be in this country, at least in the inception of this country. But there was influence. There had to be some ideas that influence our civic government. And when you look at it, it's overwhelming. If you were an objective jurist, if you were a jury in objective, you would see the evidence if we litigated it, and it would be overwhelming.
So, Karen, I think your concerns what's going to happen in New York, I think, culturally and financially. I care about New York. You said, hey, man, I'm not New York, but as you know, it's a financial center of the country and the world, and I'm worried about that. I mean, I truly worried about that. This guy, between state and local income taxes, I mean, up above 21%. Only 1% of New Yorkers, wealthy New Yorkers, pay 40% of the tax.
Yeah, but
all you need is for one of them to pack up and leave.
Right.
I mean, they're playing with fire.
Okay, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, join us on the after show. Thank you for joining in. Share these conversations with someone you think may benefit from them. We really appreciate you listening and watching. And join us on the after show. We'll answer some questions. And I hope John Fake-Ass Fodrill is on the after show, because I'll give you some attention, because that guy's a fraud.
Good.
He made some comments that I'll address, and we can have fun after the show. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
Going to point out that Vance has come out and he made a statement this week, quote, "I've been reliably informed that Democrats are opposed to any kind of political violence. So I look forward to them universally condemning Zohran Mamdani for campaigning with an unindicted co-conspirator in a terrorist plot that killed 6 New Yorkers in 1993. So, yeah, Mamdani is telling us exactly who he is. That's the point. You got to give him credit for at least that. I mean, he won't repudiate global intifada language. Okay, but at least he's honest. He's telling us exactly who he is. And how suicidal does a city have to be? We're completely ignorant to sort of wade into that kind of self-destruction. So I think that's what we're trying to bring up here, and that it won't be contained ultimately to New York City.
The point about illegal immigration and just in general, I mean, if you look at traditional New Yorkers, Cuomo wins.
Yeah.
He wins, hands down.
Yeah.
With traditional New Yorkers, he wins. It's all this new. I mean, New York didn't even seem like New York anymore, right? I mean, and that's the problem. Dearborn, Michigan is not Dearborn, Michigan anymore. And that's why I'm glad Governor Abbott, for all the criticism and all the whatever you want to have of him, and I've had mine too. I mean, look, every city, there should be a national law against Sharia law.
Yeah.
The Constitution is the only thing that should govern. And that's it, period, end of story. This is a constitutional republic. If you don't like it, go to another country. The only reason why you want to change it is because you're trying to take over. You're
so right. It's
not even
other
a question.
Yeah.
Just go somewhere else, or just be honest. You're trying to take over, and then everybody else should.
And that's so yeah. I can see why Vance just for that would come out and say, "What are you guys crazy?" I mean, this Siraj Wahaj, this imam, he's got video after video. Watch some of them where he wants Islamic law to replace constitutional law. He's been Sharia. He's been open about that.
Yep.
I mean, not unabashed about it. So you have Mamdani. Mamdani's telling you who he is. He wants the same
But look what's
thing.
Just look at UK. Just look at Europe. I mean, this is not. Oh, I wonder what's
That's
going
the
to happen.
end of the story.
Guess what happened? And this is why this bothers me about New York, because it's not going to be isolated in New York. Because look at Dearborn, Michigan. They have an Islamic mayor who's pushing Islamic ideology and religion, but they don't want Christian religion.
Yeah.
But you can push Islamic religion. Okay, that's called do as I say, not as I do. And I'm going to nice talk you because it make you feel like a dumbass and guilt you into voting for me because you're fucking weak. And then now I'm going to stomp you in the head, essentially. I mean, so one mayor in UK, then another mayor, then another mayor, then another mayor, then another mayor. Then you can't even criticize Islam now. But they don't have free speech like we do, so they're screwed.
There are well over a dozen major cities.
A dozen major cities.
Oh yeah.
You named them one week. You had them down.
And the
on
mosques
list.
that they have now have there, it's like there is no more.
All I'm saying is,
Of what was.
I had to debate this when I was in office because they were trying to establish Sharia courts. I shared with you guys back when I was in office in Irving, Texas. Do your research. They almost voted in a Sharia court that this one religion gets a certain court that they put different rules and they circumvent the Constitution because the Sharia is going to rule in their affairs in their civil government. Bullshit. This is the United States of America. We have the Bill of Rights and we have the Constitution. And then we have individual statutes, state statutes. Now, minus Louisiana, that's a little wacky because of the Napoleonic civil law they had there back in the beginning. But it's not off the reservation, so to speak. And so we just, I mean, either you want to preserve this country or you don't. And let's get back to debating legitimate issues. But real quick, because I got a text message. So John Fodrell is a stupid son of a bitch. I mean, he just is. And he's a fake ass and he's weak. He's weak. He's been around for a long time. He was fired from the city and then he had a lawsuit and nobody gave a shit about him. And then he even went to a Brian Chasnoff when he was in the Express News. And even Brian Chasnoff said, you're a stupid son of a bitch. And nobody gave him attention. Nobody listens to him. I just like to challenge him because when I was in office, I said, John, come meet me. You can record it because I'll record it and you can play whatever you want. Let's talk. And all he does is like, and I'm going to defend Susan Reed. He ragged on Susan Reed, whoever the DA was. But I'll defend Joe Gonzalez too. And so it was Susan Reed because she was the DA. Then I'm the DA, replace it with Nico LaHood. Then Joe Gonzalez comes in, replace it with Joe Gonzalez. He can't stand McManus. He'll mention a federal judge. He'll mention the Castros. I'm going to defend the Castros. I don't know I can't defend their actions. I can only know mine. All I'm saying is whoever the sheriff is, he replaced it from Parmalu to Javier Salazar. He's that dude. And nobody else, everybody ignores him. I'm just a crazy son of a bitch too that likes to tell other crazy son of a bitches, go fuck yourself because you're a coward. If you're going to come up with stuff, then just talk and bring evidence. Don't send me a he has pictures. He used to post pictures of a certified letter that he sent to a 500-member law firm that I never saw. And it doesn't mean that what's in that letter means anything, by the way. He could put a bunch of gibberish because that's all he talks is gibberish. He's just a coward. And he sits in his underwear at home with his big old belly, and just types about people. And people, more elected officials need to speak out against him because he's an idiot. So I've never blocked him. I let him. I let him spew his crap. And then there's a female version of him out there. And then she jumps on for a little while. And then they listen to each other, eating their crackers at home. Talking to their three friends, and they all look alike. They're probably incestual. But I mean, it doesn't matter. And so just that's it. So everyone asked me. There's your answer to it. And so he can go ahead and spew his crap. But he's a coward. Listen to me, coward. I have zero respect for cowards.
Well,
Zero.
and proof is, I love it when you invite people to lunch.
I've done it
and
over
then
and over again.
they get a little shaky because they don't know
But
how they could ever face you in
now John
person.
Fodrell is a coward and he's a liar. And look, many people could have sued him 10 times over. But he didn't have a pot to piss in, so what are you going to sue him for? But so that's something different. But John Alamo talk, I mean, I look, just by my exchanges with him, I think I'm going to like him. I would do. And I really do mean. And Mark Antoine also. I would want to, because I know he went to Central. I know who he is. That's not his real last name. But I mean, I know who he is. I have friends. I have people that know him. But I do want to talk with him. I mean, because I want to sit down and maybe I'm missing something. And I want to talk with people. And they're my neighbors. And they're not crazy like Fodrell. I mean, so I want to talk with them and just see if we can persuade me or I can persuade you. But bring the receipts, as the young people say, or bring the evidence, and let's just talk. That's it. I'm going to always encourage conversation. Always first. All right, there's my little spiel. Go back to the topics.
Well, I don't know what topics we were talking about, and I'm glad you got that off. Yeah.
What do we do?
Anyway,
What?
let's talk about
world.
Russia.
We can. I don't care.
No, I think you brought up you were talking about Islam
Oh, yeah.
for that, and you weren't seeking John Fadro's opinions on Islam.
Oh, no, I don't care. On anything, but go ahead.
No, I mean, it is.
The church needs to teach on it, George, right?
Charlie Kirk's new book, I was going to say,
What?
addresses this issue.
I didn't know that.
And this was something he was very, very concerned about and talked about existentially, this, what he called the pagan threat. And the rise of Islam is sort of the most ignored, significant problem in the country right now. There's just not enough political pressure against it, and that's quite dangerous. I mean, this is really an uprising against America's constitutional order, and this will take a bad situation right now with regard to divisions and make it worse, because there's a lot of alignment between Islamism and communism. That's why, because at the core it's state controlled ultimately. And just the difference with Islam is that it's theocratic in nature, whereas communism is atheistic in nature. But at the core, it's the suppression of free speech in the hands of a few, and so I think you've got a perfect storm here, breeding. And we talked about the one kind of perfect storm in the first half of the show. And so I think we just happen to be talking about Islam right now. And so the Mamdani race is significant. We keep talking about it because it isn't going to be contained to New York City. It's going to go to Albany, New York. Kathy Hochul has already endorsed him. Now, he blew her off, didn't endorse her back. But Hakeem Jeffries just endorsed Mamdani, invariably, because of a bunch of pressure. I don't know if Chuck Schumer would have to be insane.
He is insane, so don't be surprised.
What came up during the debate is that literally hundreds of rabbis have condemned the guy as a shout out to Judaism, to say, are you people insane? Because there are well-meaning Jews who are supporting Mamdani, because they're the olive branch people, not realize it's an olive branch to a really sort of demonic ideology that will consume them, truly. Mamdani calls himself a Democrat socialist. He's not unabashed about it. And so he's telling you who he is. So we're just, it's a clarion call. People wake the hell up. And ignorance is not, what do you say? Ignorance is not bliss.
It's not dangerous.
I mean, it can be very, very dangerous.
What really makes me sick and sad, though, is that the very rich in New York can move. The regular people in New York cannot move. They have to stay there, even if they don't want Mamdani. So they're like victims of whatever movement that he's part of that seems to be catching on. What are they going to do? Where are they going to go? How does it work out?
Well, they can move out of New York City and stay in New York State, right? I mean, because there's portions in New York that aren't crazy like that. But the thing is, if we keep handing over portions, then all of a sudden you've lost a chunk. And so, and that's why, I'm happy. I didn't know either. I was ignorant about this situation and this ideology and religion, so to speak. And so I was forced to study it, especially when I was in office, because if I was going to take a stand on something, I'm not just going to take a stand ignorantly. I'd rather say I don't know something than to take a stand and irresponsibly be wrong. I mean, I don't mind being wrong, but just not irresponsibly wrong. So I just encourage people to study and just do a little observation. So study on your own and then observe. And all you got to do is observe Europe, observe Dearborn, Michigan, observe. Just that's it. That's observe. And then say, oh, I like that. Okay, cool. Then go back to advocating for it or being quiet and allowing someone else to advocate for it. But if you don't, then you need to start talking to people about it and voting differently and having discussions and supporting people that are gonna stand up against that. It's just kind of that simple to me. And so just imagine not one Mamdani, but several of them. I mean, this is going to empower and really sort of empower an uprising, I think, in Albany, New York, and it won't be contained in New York. Nico caught me a little off guard. I was trying to think about what he said, and I remember we had an R-rated episode where we discussed this at length about how it's not contained. Throughout London, the United Kingdom, it's consumed it. And I said it was about a dozen cities. I didn't actually count them, but we know London for sure. What's Sadiq Khan, right? And Leeds and Birmingham and Sheffield and Luton and Oldham and Birmingham. So I mean, this isn't, and UK's not that big.
I know.
So
I know.
And then you got King Charles placating to it, and just he's a weak ass too. I mean, it's just whatever, man. I mean, I guess.
Do we want mayors like this across the country? It's a legitimate question to ask. I mean, this is because we haven't seen anything yet in terms of authoritarianism.
But Ben Carson got so much shit for him saying a Muslim cannot be president. And he doesn't
You're
understand.
so right.
He did. But the reason why he was said that is because a true Islamic person cannot pledge allegiance to anything but the Quran, the Hadith. I mean, they can't. They can't. They can't pledge to the Constitution. So that's what he meant, that a true person of that ideology is going to be advocating for Sharia and for other ways to run a civic government, not through constitutional republic mindset and Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. So he's right. I mean, you don't have to like it. That's not a statement on anything other than objectively saying somebody has to advocate this if they're a purist, and this doesn't support that. So then they don't mix, man. I mean, a dog and a cat don't produce a dog or a cat. They don't produce shit, So that's what you're dealing with here, in my humble opinion.
But it's so funny the way you say play it out, but also just the reality of it. Figure it out. But when you say, Nico, we got to get away from our feelings, how significant that is and how much it has made a difference, even with COVID. Nobody wants to hurt their feelings. Let's say this, you can't say that. The political correctness kind of destroyed us, and it just continues.
It destroyed politics, it destroyed society, and it destroyed the church. I mean, because all you got to do, let me tell you, the three words in the English language that make people shudder with fear, or at least used to. It's not as much anymore, although it still has it, is I am offended. When you said those three words in that order, I am offended, people just crap their pants, put on a bunch of Depends, shut up, walked it.
I had a young guy tell me that.
Who gives a shit? I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have a constitutional right not to be offended. I'm not trying to offend you, but I'm not trying not to. I always say that about Jesus when I'm talking about scripture. I go, Jesus never tried to offend people. And then the sensitive folks in the room go, yeah, Jesus never tried to offend anyone. I go, let me finish, because I'm going to offend you now. But Jesus didn't try not to offend them either. Ephesians 4:15, speak the truth in love. 2 Timothy 1:7, do it without timidity and fear. Isaiah 1, let's sit down and reason together. But ultimately, if you're a Christian, Jesus, John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. That's it. He is it for me.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we should have conversations. And if you're going to have a meaningful conversation, if I want to have a meaningful conversation with Karen, I have to take the chance, not the intent, to offend you. Because what if I'm going to tell you something that you don't see about yourself or that you're doing that's destructive? I am going to offend you. I mean, I am, because you're not seeing it the way me and maybe other friends. What do you think interventions are? These interventions, these are conversations that are going to offend the person you're intervening for. And so you have to take this chance. Hopefully in your heart, it's not your intent to offend that person, but you have to take the chance to offend them, or you're not having a meaningful conversation, because I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to say it the way you want to say it, and I'm going to back off when I think I've gone, quote unquote, too far. And then
but isn't that what got Trump in trouble in the first place? Because he would find the thing that somebody didn't want to hear, and that's the way he got through to them to stop all conversation.
I don't think it was that. I think it was his approach. Right? I mean, so look, no matter what, you're going to say things.
There's no excuses that he's a New Yorker, but honestly, if you live up on the East Coast.
Just his approach, though?
No. I mean, no. The things he said, no matter what, J.D. Vance is obviously a different approach, and then Rubio's somewhere in the middle. That's why I say I get J.D. a certain way, even though J.D. is getting bolder, and I like J.D. by the way. I mean, and then Trump's over here, bull in a China store, and then you got Rubio is like a calculated bull. I mean, he's not going over shit, but he's not doing it like Trump style.
You're saying he would have caught fire. It's just that he made the fire hotter because of his approach.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's legit. You know what I mean? There was some unforced errors with Trump. Can we admit that, please? Yeah. There's been many unforced errors. But you get what you get with the guy, man. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I always use Manu as the example. Manu is a highlight reel. I mean, his career is a highlight reel. But it's also a reel of, Manu. Sometimes you're like, Manu, I can't believe that. And then you're like, Manu, I can't believe you did that. I mean, that's just kind of what you get.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that's my opinion with it. But, you mentioned the FBI investigation with the NBA.
Wow. Do you think that's going to have any bearing on the vote in San Antonio, the place where nobody votes?
On what? On the FBI? No.
On putting millions and millions and millions of dollars for an arena to play basketball that really wasn't real basketball? I kept on thinking that.
I'm not going to assume that none of it was real basketball. Of course, it was real basketball. I mean, but they're talking about. Remember, you don't have to throw a game to win a bet. There's a point spread, and there's people and there's
But people
injury
faking
reports.
injuries.
Well, because they don't want to win. They don't want to win by a certain amount, or you're out of the game. Because then there's bets on how much you're going to score and triple doubles and all that shit. So there's ways that a player can influence a betting outcome without betraying their team. So I mean, there's that argument. I've heard that, and that's fine. But does this surprise anybody? I was just more surprised that all the mafia families are still that active. I mean, to
That
be honest
is
with you,
pretty
I mean, the
scary.
Bonanno, the Lucchese, the Genovese, the
I love the
Gambino.
names.
I
I love
didn't
the
hear the
names.
Colombo family. I don't know, but those are the 5 major Italian mafia families in New York.
So maybe there is hope for the Republic.
Well, they need to get off their ass and work in. I don't know what the hell they're doing
I
over
know,
there.
that's exactly what I was
Sitting
saying.
around. If they
Where
think,
are all these people, man? That's
yeah,
what we
just
need.
study Italy. If they think that Mayor Mamdani is going to help them still
Where's the
operate.
Godfather when you need him?
Yeah,
right?
but all that to say is look, this is wire fraud and money laundering. Wire fraud is kind of a sweeping tool to get a lot of people. It just usually means dishonest conduct. You know, a material representation to make someone do something with money to induce them to do something they wouldn't have done before. That's what wire fraud really means. People, you don't have to transfer something. Yes, it does mean moving money around, but when you talk about wire fraud, think of a Ponzi scheme. You know, kind of, you know, this material misrepresentation to induce you to do something with money that you wouldn't have done without that material misrepresentation. That's wire fraud in a sense. It involves deceit, things of that nature. Now, money laundering is not necessarily cleaning money, although that's an aspect of it. But it's not concealing the true nature of funds and actually getting illegal money. And you can actually buy something legal with your money over $10,000. That's still money laundering because the source of it was illegal. So this is just broad, sweeping things that say you induce someone to play a poker game,
Which is so
high stakes
awful.
money.
I
You saw the
know.
Sopranos episode, maybe,
I
where
know.
Lawrence Taylor's in a private poker game.
Clarify. What do you mean by the source was illegal? It was obtained through illegal means.
Illegal means
Like
through
theft or
material
whatever.
material misrepresentation, fraud. I got money illegally, but then I bought legal stuff with it. But that's still money laundering. I mean, all that's the source of bad money. And so, but with these poker games, so you have this Chauncey Billups, whatever. Are you gonna play poker with Chauncey? Yeah, I want to play poker with an NBA superstar,
me sick.
whatever. And it's
Yeah.
high stakes poker. They had like X-ray glasses. They had tables. They were this. They had marked cards. I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands, maybe millions in these high stake games. And they're taking a rake, so that's illegal in and of itself. But that's a different story. They're deceiving people. It's not a a fair
People
gambling.
are so happy they got invited in, and then they clean them out and say goodbye.
And you're
Or they
saying,
let
is
them win a
anyone
little bit.
surprised that this is going on?
No,
mean, I'm not.
I'm not, but it's
I'm
just
not surprised,
awful.
but I mean, this is. I mean, I don't know. I see a lot of this shit, but I mean, I'm not surprised about it. I mean, the NBA acted like they were surprised, I guess.
Well, maybe because we haven't seen the whole story.
But
That's
look,
why
I mean,
all of
if you
them
don't
are-
think they're looking into
Yeah.
the NFL and
Oh,
Major League
yeah.
Baseball,
Yeah.
You know they are.
yeah, and and croquet or whatever the shit. I mean, they're gonna look into everything now. So I mean, there's a lot of people.
They're not
shitting
looking
their
at women's
pants.
but,
basketball, though.
you got to
They
step
are.
back. This is a sadness, though. I mean,
yeah.
sports are really critical to the American
No,
culture.
I know,
and-
but it's the whole thing: the fake government, the fake NBA, the fake. What's real anymore?
No, it's this
Jesus
this,
is real.
Okay, thank you. One thing.
Amen to that.
Yes.
The industry around Jesus, unfortunately, is not so up
That's
and up.
true.
Commercialization
About
of
Joel
funny.
Osteen like
The
that. What's the
commercial-
matter with you?
That is so
The commercialization
funny.
of Jesus is not so
Stop
good.
it. That is
The recruiting of Jesus for our political lens is
That is
not, and
awful.
for our personal lens is not so great. But I do. This is as a person who adores this country truly, sometimes to the point of tears. I mean, this is a systematic decay of our institutions, and you just got to you got to keep coming back to what the founder said. Look, and James Madison said, look, the basis of our political experiment is the capacity of mankind for self-government, or the lack thereof. And so you can't just have a republic vested in the authority of the people. It has to be in the virtue of the people.
That's right.
And this is why this is why it makes sense, why the founders didn't shy away from a religious discussion.
That's right.
Not a theocratic one, but a religious one. There has to be some sort of central ethos running through the core of a human being to direct that human being in storms and out of storms. Who are you? And this is why I keep coming back to that well, maybe not so well-known debate between William Penn and John Locke. We have laws, we have character. The reality is that for a long time, for at least, I'm going to say, let's see, 1776, at least 100 years, the average Constitution was the size of a pamphlet. I mean, really. And it wasn't until later that you saw, tens and tens of thousands of pages. Why is that? Because the focus of the founders were on people of character and not on the number of laws. That's the point. And we've kind of betrayed that focus, and we damn well better get back to priorities. I'm very, very worried about it. And again, when we say a Muslim can't be president, this is not an indictment on every single individual Muslim. As I said, when I know individual Muslims, and I trust them implicitly. Good people. I have some that I can genuinely call friends. That's not the point. The point is that Islam as a movement, as a political theocratic system, it is an existential danger to the constitutional order of the United States. It just is, because its priorities are diametrically opposed to the priorities of self-governance. Just what I said. I mean, they would repudiate James Madison's focus on self-governance, because you can't have self-governance in Sharia. Yeah. You can't. It's a caliphate. Yeah. Period. End of story. So we got to step back and think lucidly about these things, because it'll affect how our children experience life in the country later.
How, if, I can't find the comment, but how does it fit together if Mom Donnie wins with there being such a huge mafia presence in New York City still? How does that clash work? How do they work together? Does that even happen?
They don't work together. I mean, no, it doesn't work together. But I don't know if there's a huge presence anymore. It's not like before. Carlo Gambino was the last of the great dons. I mean, I studied mafia history.
I love that stuff.
Yeah. To me, the two greatest mafia dons were Carlo Gambino and Tony Accardo out of Chicago. Great. I mean, Tony Accardo ran that outfit for 40 years, and he was smart enough to let Rica go in there and had other people take over for him at different times. And Sam Giancana was there, and all that stuff with Marilyn Monroe. But Tony Accardo was the brains
like
behind
a
that.
movie.
History,
I know.
Yeah. But Paul Rico was one of the dons. But Tony was really pulling the strings behind the scenes. Carlo Gambino ran the Gambino family for 24 years. Never went to prison. He went to jail 1 or 2 days, and he was under indictment when he passed away. But I mean, he died in his mid-70s, which is early to me. I mean, if he would have lived to his 80s, maybe he would have gone to prison, but he didn't. Tony Accardo lived into his 80s, and he was investigated. And Accardo was, if you want to say, he was a genius. I mean, that guy was brilliant, and he ran. And there's other smaller outfits, but those are two major players. Then the mafia's not like that. Ever since the RICO Act, the Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organization Act, came out in the 80s, and the way Giuliani just decimated the mafia. The RICO Act decimated the mafia. Because the mafia bosses used to isolate themselves, and they had the way it's set up is you have a boss, an underboss, a consigliere, and then you had capo regimes, and then they had their crews, and that was it. And then they had soldiers, and then you had associates that were not made guys; they were soldiers. And so these are huge. I mean, the Gambinos had like 500 members at one point, and huge. And then associates, forget about it. They ran everything: rackets, unions, cement. That's why it's interesting whether you like Trump or not. And then Sammy Gravano talks about it in interviews. He's like, look, we tried to get to Trump. We couldn't. And so Trump is flourishing, not just surviving, flourishing in New York in the biggest, and he's not in bed with the mafia. That dude's a mafia boss. I mean, shit. I mean, to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, and back then when they had a lot more power because they weren't so exposed back then.
They owned the city.
They owned it.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing happened. I mean, even the government went to the mafia to try to take out Castro back in the day. And yet
it is a stunning thing. I haven't thought about it in those terms that you're describing, that Trump would have thrived despite.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, back then.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's amazing that he would have flourished the way that
crazy.
he did. You would have think they would have squeezed him in some way.
And
or
by
another.
now, as much as Trump has been investigated.
The most investigated man on
Shit.
earth.
I mean, still
are you kidding
can't
me?
find anything.
I know.
Nothing
And
with
that's
the mafia.
great. That's the great irony.
That
here.
tells you something. That tells you his courage. That tells you his cunning. And he's using the courage and cunning to run this country. Look, you don't have to like the dude. I mean, I get it. There's times he pisses me off, too.
And say what you want. I mean, he's
But-
also principled. I'm sorry, I'm going to use that word with Trump. That's right.
I agree.
I mean, look, these guys are belly aching about some bullshit charge on him being authoritarian. This guy's going through the courts. I mean, he's painstakingly going through the courts at this time. Now, Of course, now they're saying, well, dude, it's the United States Supreme Court. You know, he's got him in his pocket. Give me a freaking break here, man. I mean, there are people who have been decidedly against Trump on that court.
Roberts is no fan of
Sure.
Trump's.
Give me a break. That's been fairly well known.
Yeah,
Gina
question?
Martinez wants to know, why do people put down Joel Osteen?
Because there's a lot to put down.
I mean, we don't have an hour. I mean, I wish we
no,
did.
But no, if it's a legitimate question,
no,
I want to give her an
That's
honest
why
answer.
I brought it up.
Joel Osteen, the criticism, which I agree with, is that he does not present an honest gospel and that he waters it down. And if you looked at his interviews over years, for years now, he's embarrassed to stand for some of the tough truth that the Scripture stands for. And he waters it down. He says, oh, that's my lane, and I don't talk about this. And you're a pastor, brother. You're a preacher of the gospel, the whole counsel of God. You are called to be, Paul says, to be a herald of God's word. The herald, if you study the ancient times, the herald came down to the subjects and said, hear ye, king whatever, Jehoshaphat says, blah, 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 blah. He didn't opine on what the king said. He didn't give you an opinion article on it. He said, this is what the king said. That's all I'm going to tell you. My job is to understand what the king said and to be obedient to the king. That's it. Joel doesn't do that way. Now, look, there's an 11th commandment, and the guys in the Bible study always hear it. It's in Exodus somewhere. Don't be a dick. I get that. And so there's a lot of pastors that are dicks.
Too.
Cool, check. I get that. But that doesn't mean that shouldn't be an indictment against Christianity. That should be on the person that's trying to advocate that. And so Joel Osteen, I've never heard him teach on Scripture. He gives motivation. And look, I don't listen to him at all, but the stuff that I listen to, because I wanted to give
He is a motivational speaker.
Well,
That's what he is.
Weakness doesn't motivate me.
Right.
He
well said.
exudes weakness to me. He exudes makeup and fluffy hair and weakness to me, and that fake ass smile. I want genuineness on that. I want a genuine pastor that is persuaded by God's word, that can properly handle the word of truth. 2 Timothy 2:15. Not be embarrassed about it. Always be prepared to give an answer. 1 Peter 3:15 and 16. To anyone asked why you have hope, this hope that we have. And if you don't have scars for your faith, I mean, it may be literal ones, but just scars in society, then what are you doing? Then are you really advocating? Because the world is going to reject Christianity as a whole. I think it's being more accepted now, thankfully, even though we were in a black hole for many years. But I mean, and so you just have to properly handle God's word. Joel Osteen is not courageous to me. I've not seen evidence of it. I think he has actually misused Scripture. He has not properly defended it, and he doesn't intellectually present the case the way Paul did in Acts.
I can't top that. That's exactly right. I mean, it's a word of faith. He's a word of faith prophet. I mean, a word of faith prophet is a person who believes that words have, I guess what would be another term, positive confessionism, which is actually new agey.
It is.
And it's believing that words have creative power, literally in and of themselves, and that's mystical. You know, it focuses on this idea that faith is a matter of what we say, much more than who we're placing that our faith in, which is the Lord Jesus Christ. And so you can hear it. You can hear it consistently through the things that he says. It, just simply speaking over things and sort of mystically and supernaturally changing those things. The Bible says nothing of that sort. In fact, that's rather idolatrous, where it places you as the locus of authority, and you're not the locus of authority. We do God's bidding, not the other way around. I mean, it's a Kenneth Copeland-ish. He's basically a much younger Kenneth Copeland with gray hair. I mean, he's if you think about it,
Kenneth Copeland, Benny Hinn, all those big asses, Jesse Duplantis.
I call them demigods. I mean, they're sort of everybody a god unto themselves, and they believe that because of their faith, in a sense, almost God owes them something. I've not heard any sermon, any reason, and I've searched for this. I've searched for a reasonable sermon, a biblically centered sermon, just on suffering, on the suffering of the believer, and how God can use that suffering to mature someone into the character of Christ. I've not. If you can find one, please send it to me from Joel Osteen. I would like to regale into its biblical depths, if I may.
Okay,
now I got Nico.
Clash of the Titans. That God, that guy's demonic. That guy drinking blood and.
Okay, here's from Roman. I'm stopping this now.
All right, go ahead.
Roman says, "Does New York realize they're about to vote in the ideology that gave us 9/11?"
Ooh, that's interesting, Roman. That's an interesting comment. I heard someone mention that last. Who sent me
It was
that?
DeSantis.
Was it him?
DeSantis posted.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you. Someone sent me that. Thank you.
DeSantis posted on that, and it's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But this is why we don't teach. We don't teach about 9/11 in schools. Why? Well, you might offend people, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So And this is craziness. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, really think about it. It's 24 years, but it's certainly long enough for a generation and then some that's completely
Any other
illiterate.
comments?
Does the First Amendment apply to Alex Jones?
Sure does. Why?
It's just a question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Alex Jones is crazy, but yeah.
I would like to ask back. It sounds like it's I'm not sure what kind of question it is. Interesting question, but why do you think that it wouldn't, and why? Curious.
Ernest says God loves dummies.
He
He
does.
made so
He
many.
does.
Ask Joel.
That's true. I mean, look, we're all dummies in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
He loves all of us, and yes, and he died for all of us, and every single one of us has an opportunity to say yes to Christ. And look, the one thing I tell people, I've had the pleasure, and I say pleasure, and it's an awesome responsibility to speak in front of a lot of people over the years, and talk to a lot of people. And the one thing, whether you're Islamic, Hindu, Buddhist, atheist, agnostic, whatever flavor of Christianity or whatever you want to say, the only thing that everybody has in common is we're all leaving this earth. Every single one of us. It doesn't matter. It's not if, it's when. Now, of course, hopefully you take care of yourself and it's as long as possible and you can live a purposeful, God-driven life for me, obedient life. But we're leaving this earth. What do you believe happens at that moment? I mean, do you think we turn to worm food? You come back as a horse because you screwed up in this life? Whoever decides that, I don't know. You come back as a prince because you did something good? Okay, whatever, reincarnation. Do you believe that you have 72 virgins waiting for you if Allah doesn't change his mind at the last minute? Or do you believe that you're going to stand before the architect of the universe that came in as the second person of the Trinity to step into reality, live a life we couldn't live, die a death we deserved, and offer us a gift we didn't earn, which is the gospel, which is good news. And we're going to spend eternity with him if we say yes. Eternity with all our loved ones. Eternity. And we're living in it. When people say, I can't understand that. Well, then just study the cosmos, because I think that's God's kind of foreshadowing, saying, you don't think you can understand it? I'm giving you a glimpse of it. Think about it. The Milky Way is one galaxy, that we can't even comprehend the size of the Milky Way. We have a 5 million mile star in the Milky Way. And when you look at a scope, you don't even notice it. I mean, the Milky Way is enormous. The Milky Way is one of, how is it now? How many now, George? Over 500 billion other galaxies?
Hundreds of billions. It vacillates anywhere from 100 to 300 billion. But
I've heard 4 to 500 billion.
Discovering.
No one knows. But even if we use George's numbers of 300 billion, 300 billion with a B, other Milky Ways, and Milky Way is not the biggest galaxy, by the way.
We're seeing more and more new ones because our ability to see into deep space is
And then how many
improving all the
stars,
time.
George? Into the trillions.
Oh.
I mean, and we're one blue speck of sand in the beach of the universe. And so, do you believe in aliens? I don't know. I mean, if God created them, he could have created them. Could there be a gospel message to them? I don't know. All I know is I believe the Bible. I believe Jesus is God incarnate. We know he's a historical figure.
That's
I mean,
so-
he rose from the dead. He was murdered by Romans. He preached a gospel that without social media, we're still talking today. He divided time in two. And for whatever reason, God designed that blue grain of sand to be in our solar system in just a way that we can survive. It's really miraculous. And even scientists and astronomers, they'll tell you the same thing. I don't know how the hell this works out, but it's incredible. And the chances are just almost non-possible. I mean, George can talk about statistics on that. And that's what I know for sure. I'll ask him when I get there. I mean, I don't understand why we have to. I'm not going to figure it all out. I'm not trying to.
It's so funny because when my daughters are arguing and one of them is, why does this happen? Why does this happen? The other one always says, we're living on a speck. We're
true.
living on a speck. And then everybody shuts up and laughs.
But it should fascinate you.
Right.
Nico lost me at galaxies. So I'm sort of,
He's
no, I mean,
thinking.
it is. We've done seminars where we just give people perspective, which I think is important. But you can fit 109 Earths in the sun.
Listen, say it again, George.
You
It's
can
so
fit
weird.
109 Earths in the sun. The sun's diameter is about 865,400 miles,
900 Earths in the sun.
and the sun is a dwarf star.
Dwarf.
So Nico said 5 million. He's being very, very generous, but
What was I? What is
or
it?
very conservative, I should say. There are like Antares, for instance, is a star in the Milky Way, and that's about 390 million miles.
How many?
390 million miles.
Oh shit! I was being way concerned. 390 million
Yeah,
miles.
It's 390 times 10 to the 6th. That's
Past
390
Lubbock.
million miles, and that's actually rather small. So then you have Epsilon Aurigae, and that's about 2.4 billion miles across.
A
Yeah.
star?
That's correct. So
So then is it
I'm gonna
weird that
readjust
Elon wants
my-
to live on Mars?
Yeah, it's,
Not
it's
so
rather it's
weird.
rather large.
Over 2 billion miles. A star is that big.
Yeah, 2.4 times 10 to the ninth, which is
2 billion.
yeah, 2.4 billion. That's Epsilon Aurigae. Check it out. It's Aurigae, and then the smaller one.
Karen, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we have a problem.
Yes.
And we have a problem with eternity. I mean, we're living in it now. When you really think about it, I mean, it's so vast. I can't comprehend it. But can you even try to comprehend what we're seeing? We can now that we have the technology. Now, I mean, it's amazing to me. So I don't know. That persuades me. How do we get on this conversation? What do we?
Well, I mean, just appreciating the magnitude and the majesty of God, and who are we truly, as David said, who are we that man should, that you should take notice of
Interest
me?
in me, yeah.
Who am I? I mean, the sun and our solar system, really, it takes about 227, maybe even as high as 250 million years to do one revolution
Around
the
galaxy.
center of our galaxy.
How many? 250 million years?
Yeah, because I mean, you know that the Earth is rotating around the sun, the moon around the Earth. It takes us about 250 million years for that entire sun and its cluster of stars to rotate around the galaxy. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's unfathomable.
I just love
So-
that the sun is called the sun because I always think of the sun, the SON, and how we're all
yeah
around him. I love that.
But you have the solar system, right? And it's rotating around the center of the galaxy, which is around 27,000 light years. A light year is how long light can travel in a year, and that's around 5.9 trillion miles in a year that light can travel. So 5.88 times.
He has a wife
and you
that
got
likes
and you
him.
got a problem with eternity? I mean, so what are
So
you
who are we? But bottom line is, who are we that God should take note, and yet He does.
Yep.
His immeasurable love. Thank the Lord.
Any
for
other
His love.
comments for
No,
wrap up?
no,
You
no.
Sure? I can't believe there's no comments from Alamo Talk, my buddy there.
There is, and everybody's picking on him, saying, "Quit watching MSNBC."
Well, I'm going to say it again. Alamo Talk. We always saluda me at the end, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Message me. I owe you. I want to take you to lunch. We just fellowship and have lunch. Where is he? Right there. We go to lunch together, guy. And my treat. We eat. I'll pray. You stay. We talk. We just do. I'm trying to make some rhymes here like that. But just take me up on it, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We can't say it enough. Share these conversations. Hopefully you benefit from them. We enjoy having them. I hope you enjoy watching and listening to us. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.